All right, everybody. Welcome to the Krueg Show. After Giants baseball, Giants big winners tonight. A rout of the Padres, 10-2 at Oracle Park. Giants explode early. And we got our first look at Alex Cobb. The Giants get the win, 13-2. Will Myers finished up, serving up bombs to Jock Peterson and Wilmer Flores and the Giants. Your Giants off to a hot start. They go for the series win tomorrow. But there, of course, is controversy, and we'll get to it with Mauricio. My base running's a circus, and my game is very minor league. Dubon, minor leagues, and next week, that's my guess. All right, let's get it rolling. We welcome in our guest, the great Ryan Covay, in the house with Nux in the background. Knuckles. What's up, Covay by the Bay? How are you?
Oh, man, I'm just waiting for somebody to forward me a PDF of the unwritten rules of baseball. Like, sorry, man, Dubon's trying to get a hit, bro. And it was the look on Matt Williams' face. Like, it reminded me of every person who's ever pissed off their dad before, did something bad. And that look, where you just know you're done for. And that look Matt Williams was giving up the dugout. Dubon would not even look over at the Padres dugout. But then Kapler gave him an earful, come back to the dugout. I don't know. Be ready to play ball, man. It's baseball. You got to hit. Get over it.
I know. Part of me says I hate the unwritten rules. Part of me says, you know what? If they're still trying, why aren't we still trying? But, man, Matt Williams was hot. Bob Melvin was hot.
Yeah.
Krug said it. I mean, let's just see. We can pretend that the baseball world is all stupid and that it's childish and meaningless, but we're not playing the game. The game is played by the players. The game is policed largely by the players. And if the players, and Mike Kruko is a guy who's well-versed in the unwritten rules of the game, if he says that move by Dubon galvanized the Padres and fired them up, then who am I to tell him he's wrong? I mean, he probably is right. He did notice, and Kipe noticed, that all the Padres immediately were on the top step of the dugout. So they noticed, and you saw Williams, he's a red ass, and he's out there barking, and Melvin was too. All I'd say is, you know what? If you need Dubon to, galvanize you, what does that say about you? I know everybody, but yet pro athletes are always looking for that little morsel of disrespect that they can, give themselves boulder shoulder and motivate themselves. I mean, let's be honest. They're human beings, and they don't bring the same level of motivation to the field every day. Some days they're super motivated. Other days they're probably less motivated, just the same way anybody is in any walk of life. Right. So I think is that I'm not going to sit there and condemn Dubon, but to what end? What was that about?
Right.
I mean, and he seems like he's got several moves in his game that you're like, man, that's junk. And this one seemed like junk. And I just think he's got major league skills, but he's got a minor league game. And I think Kapler was barking at him. I mean, he wasn't even in the dugout. Kapler was in his ear. Then he went into the corner of the dugout. He got in his ear again. You could kind of see that he was, Kapler felt like he made a mistake. Whether we feel like he made a mistake or not, Kapler felt like he made a mistake.
Right. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. I get it. Dubon's trying to show that he's going to play every at bat. It's bottom of the ninth and, he's always going to be looking for that edge. Okay, fine. But there is a fine line. I mean, the game's obviously out of hand. Clearly you're going to perturb the Padres. I'm okay with that in essence. But if you do things that irritate your own manager, and quite frankly, doing something like that could potentially put one of your guys in harm's way as well. Because then, the Padres are going to think, oh, well, now we got to plunk somebody or whatever. Thankfully, it didn't get to that. But these two teams are going to play a ton this year. The NL West, in all likelihood, is going to be a tight race, with the Dodgers in there as well, of course. So It's kind of, a shot across the bow. So for the Padres, they'll take that one on the chin tonight, but they'll say, hey, we got a long memory. It's like in hockey, you turn around, you take the jersey number, be like, we'll see you on a shift a little later in the game, and maybe get a little bit of get back. So I hear you. I think Dubon's got a little growing up to do, but that's where it's time for Kapler and maybe even a couple of those veterans in the clubhouse after the game, have a little chit chat with them. But I just think in general, it's pro sports, and you do need to be playing hard and have your head dialed in. I mean, heck, the steal in the first inning that led to the fifth run, excuse me, by the Giants, like, same thing. Like the Padres just weren't dialed in tonight, and the Giants were, and they just made them pay. So maybe that gives the Padres a little more fuel on the fire for tomorrow. I'm curious to see what happens tomorrow, though. Give me some Blake Snell and Logan Webb tomorrow. I'm all in on that. Hopefully, Manaea could go, but I want to see Blake Snell tomorrow. I do.
Yeah, we don't know. It could be Sean Manaea. It's listed as Manaea, but as they mentioned during the broadcast, it could be Blake Snell. JK510 says, I missed it. What happened? Well, good ball game. Obviously, very one-sided Giant game. They were up 10 runs early. But Mauricio Dubon, leading off the bottom of the sixth inning against Dinelson Lamet, bunted for a single, up 9 runs. And the Padres dugout erupted. Matt Williams went bananas. Bob Melvin was barking. They were giving him the stank eye from the dugout. And Krueg said that he believed it galvanized the Padres. And you don't want, let sleeping dogs lie, as they say, right? This Padre team is talented. You're not going to get everybody's A game for all 162. Why guarantee that you're getting a team's A game? And I think that's kind of what Dubon guaranteed for tomorrow. So tomorrow's the rubber game of the series. The winner of that game wins the series. And then there's people in here who are saying, give you an example, right? Rick Colleen says unwritten rules are dumb. But like Larry said, it's pushed by the players and the coaches. It probably won't go away. Right. There's other people here with that sentiment. Here we go. Jorn Anderson, unwritten rules are dumb. It's like, there's a culture in every walk of life, right? Well, and every sport. Golf has its etiquette. Football's got its etiquette. Baseball, so you can't really say, well, the unwritten rules don't exist in these other sports. They kind of do.
They do.
It's called sportsmanship. I mean, guys go crazy in the NBA if guys start hoisting threes up big, or start the bench gets a little too theatrical. Guys sitting on the bench get a little too theatrical. Suddenly it's like, guys get pissed off. In the NFL, should they start, stop passing the ball at a certain point with a certain lead? All I'll say is, to counter, I thought it was minor league, and I'll take Krueg's word for it that it was minor league and it wasn't the right move by Dubon. But let's talk about it for a second. It was a 11-2 lead in the sixth. So you got the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, the ninth. You got 12 outs to go, and you got a 9-run lead. Has a 9-run lead ever been coughed up with 12 outs to go? And the answer is yes, it has. Yeah. So that would be my pushback, right? I mean, have we ever seen a team lose in that situation with that kind of a lead? Yeah, we have. So 100%. Isn't that reason enough to just back Dubon and say, hey, look, let him be aggressive until he, until you can stop him, or until the game's out of hand. I mean, I guess we're in that gray area. Where is the game? When and where and with what margin is the game considered out of hand? In a sport that has a clock, that's easier defined. In a sport with no clock, Rye, it's hard to say.
I think you hit it spot on, man. And that's where it's right in that gray area. I would say for me, when Will Myers toes the slab, that's game over. You're not supposed to punt at that point. But yeah, no, I kind of thought the same thing. Like, if you do it in the eighth, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of bush. Like, so you're not good to do it in the sixth, but you're okay to do it in the fifth. Like, Yeah, because I'm a big believer in piling on. We see this kind of stuff happen in modern day baseball all the time. Teams will get on a roll. A couple of guys don't have their good stuff coming out of the pen. The walk train gets rolling. A team could put up a crooked number like it was nothing. So yeah, I again, like, right in that gray area. I think the Padres too were maybe looking for a little something to fire them up tonight, and they were looking for anything. When somebody's kind of on the edge, Larry, and like they're just, you could tell they're kind of looking for something to put. They're like, oh, there it is. Now I'm mad.
Right,
like,
right,
okay,
exactly.
bro,
It's on
it
now.
on the head. Yeah, you shouldn't have needed Mo Dubon to get you up for this game. Like, you're playing your division rival in their house. Like, let's go, man. Show up from the off next time, and maybe you won't be in that position in the 6th inning. Just a thought.
Yeah. We got somebody saying it's professional baseball, not Little League. Get over it.
Hey,
That's one perspective. Here's another one. Paul Perriman says Dubon seems to have bad lapses in judgment constantly. And to me, that's the bigger issue than did he make this mistake or not? Did he break an unwritten rule of baseball or not? The common denominator is when there's these questionable plays in the game. We've already seen a couple. We're only 5 games into the season. We've already seen this guy have a couple of what I would term kind of minor league moments, and getting doubled off second base, off from right field to try, can't decide if he wants to go to third or not. After some of the horrendous base running that he demonstrated a year ago. I mean, I want to pile on Mauricio. I really don't. He seems like a pretty good kid, but bad lapses in judgment consistently are kind of synonymous with his game right now. I mean, I don't know any way. There's no nice way to say it, really.
Yeah. And look, I know he's technically young in his major league career, but he came up, 2019, like, so he's had a taste of the big leagues. I'm just pulling up his career stat line right now. Tonight was literally game 162 for him in his major league career. So now, when you compress his body of work, you've had a year of service in Major League Baseball. You've had a full orbit around the major league hemisphere. So it's time to maybe get some of that stuff out of your game. But I thought all in all, though, Larry, I mean, the way that they jumped on Darvish tonight, and they just kind of had that look. This team can hit, man. And, I think it's easy to label the Giants as, just a pitching team and, defense and, playing at that park. But, man, since last year, this thing beats the cover off the ball. I mean, Brandon Belt, like, he's been on another planet lately, going back to last year, hitting the ground running this year. Nice to see a guy like Joey Bart, even Jock Peterson hit the ball hard tonight. Just some really good at-bats. And I think it's just so easy to label this team as a pitching defense team, but not anymore, man. This team mashes, dude, and it's fun to watch. It's a fun team.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's like some days they mash, some days they look like they can't hit at all.
Sure.
But it is interesting that I don't know what their record was last year after a loss, but I know it was good. It
was great.
I mean, obviously they won 107 games. Their record was great in every way imaginable last year, but they were really good off a loss. And to me, they came out ready. I mean, they were prepared for Darvish. And Darvish has really good stuff. He threw a couple breaking balls, and I was like, wow, look at the movement on that pitch. I mean, just a slurvy, weird moving breaking ball that he has. And then he still throws a pretty good fastball. But yeah, Giants jumped him early. Yaz singled, go bottom first. Yaz singled, Belt hits the 2-run shot. It's 2-0. Ruff walks, Crawford with 1-out walks, Flores singles, Estrada, who's been really good, 2-run single to center. That scored Ruff huge. And Crawford. 4-0. Then Duggar with the sac fly, 5-0. Joey Bart, who's been really good this week, single to center field. That scored Estrada. And, that was an outstanding 2-strike hitting there by Joey Bart. I'll say this, Ryan, another guy kind of out of the chute that we didn't know what to expect this year from Joey Bart, because, he kind of struggled at times last year, both in the field defensively and at the plate. Man, Joey Bart looks good, huh? Joey Bart is ripping the crap out of the ball right now and hitting for a nice average and just looking very menacing. And they're burying him at the bottom of the lineup, so trying to take a little pressure off of him.
I like that.
I love Joey Bart right now. Love
yeah, man. Look, those are massive shoes that he's stepping into for Buster Posey. I mean, come on, man, one of the most iconic players of the era. So, it's important for Joey Bart to not step in there and feel like you've got to fill Buster Posey's cleats, because that ain't going to happen. Like, we know that. It's just more about him earning his keep, showing that he belongs up here with the big club. I think it's more important for me that he gets command of that staff and you can trust him behind the plate for the majority of the starts. For a catcher, to me, is always going to be best served in that capacity. Even with all that talk when Posey was playing, you got to move him to first. No. Buster Posey's value to that team, first and foremost, was as a catcher. The hitting that he would do, I would consider a bonus. It's like that for me with any catcher. It's such an important position. So for Bart to get that side of the game down and get comfortable there, massive. But if he can also contribute at the plate, and I love Kapler putting him at the bottom of the lineup, it also goes to show, too, you don't need Joey Bart to come in and hit 25 bombs this year. You need Joey Bart to come in, play, a really nice catcher, learn the tools of the trade at the big league level, get command and respect of that staff. And if you can bring the bat along throughout the season, run into a couple and not be a total liability in that respect, I think he's going to be well on his way. Just take some of the pressure off of him. And I think that's what Cap's looking at right now.
Yeah. The other thing, Rye, is that, Brandon Belt with a huge lead in this game, still, I think it was the 5th or 6th inning, comes up, he's still grinding.
Yeah.
Still grinding. Drew a walk. He looks really, really good. The other thing was they're now 9-1 in these unis. Last year they used these unis, but they went with their regular helmets. Right. Now they've got like special City Connect orange helmets. I mean, to me, those helmets look so little league, but I
like it.
You know what?
It's fun.
They're 9-1, man. They're 9-1 in these unis.
I like the unis, man. I think they look cool. People make too much of uniforms. I'm not like a huge uniform guy. I like crisp white unis. Like, I'm a big Bears fan. My favorite Bears unis when they play on the road, the white on white. Like, I love that uni, man. So, no, I think these look cool. And look, man, you're orange and black. The Orange Fridays. And I don't know. I think it's kind of a cool color. And I like the style. And look, man, the game is evolving. And I think Major League Baseball was kind of stuck in reverse for a while as far as reminding everybody it's supposed to be fun, man. And like just new unis, just kind of, giving fans something to be excited about. I don't know. I think it's cool. And I like the lines on them and the orange helmets. I mean, why not, man? Like, it's a game, played by adults, but it's a game. It's supposed to be fun. So those unis are fun to me. I like them.
Charles K is pushing back on me. He says Larry bitches about Dubon bunting in the 6th inning, but doesn't say Jack S about Jock and Flores swinging and homering against Myers pitching in the 8th. Where's the uproar? Once again, that's to me. Charles K makes a decent point here. You got a position player pitching at the end. Is there an unwritten rule that says you don't take a big hack? You don't take a big swing. You don't swing for the fences. It doesn't seem like that's one of the unwritten rules. It seems like, that just seems like fair game. They're trying to get the game over with, but the game's still going on. He's throwing, basically Pedro Borbon ephus pitches. The La Lob are coming to the plate, and the Giants are, on their back heels, swinging for the downs. Is that you got a problem with that if you're a Padre fan?
You better not. Come on. These guys are professional hitters. They're not. If you're going up there drag bunting, okay, like that's Bush, no good. But come on, man. These guys are still getting paid to go up there and take their hacks. And not to mention, can we just point out for a second, how about if you were a Giant fan that went out there and paid your money tonight? You didn't go out there to see Will Myers throwing in the 9th inning. That's for damn sure. Or in the 8th inning. So that's the case. Go up there, take your hacks. And look, if you hit it out, cool. If you hit it, fly ball to the track, big deal. Like, I got no problem with that, man. You knew what time it was, Bowmel, when you sent Will Myers into the game to pitch. Like, he's probably going to give up a couple of meatballs. I mean, honestly, what are they supposed to do? Right? You're supposed to take pitches? You don't want to do that. Go up there, take your hacks, and keep it moving.
This is where we're in this kind of gray area. And let's, the one thing that the last guy is wrong about, I'm not going crazy about Dubon doing it. I'm saying that the Padres went crazy about Dubon doing it, and that Krueger said it galvanized the Padres. All I'm saying is it's best not to galvanize your opponent. But the point is the same. And I would, if you ask me, where do I come down on these unwritten rules of baseball? Why is it that there has to be a rule about me, that results in the fans getting a lesser of a show? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
It's an obscene amount of money to go to a baseball game. It's an obscene amount of money to park at a baseball game. They're asking for like $20 for like a crab sandwich. I'm thinking about putting one on layaway, maybe pay some now and some later.
Sure. Yeah. Get half now. Yeah.
Get that crab sandwich for July on layaway.
I love it.
Can I get it in three parts? I'll do
Right.
a 3-part payment program on the crab sandwich.
Get
No, but
that second mortgage out on your house, Larry, and then maybe you can afford a drink with that too.
think about it. That's where I would come down on the side of the fans, which is
Of course.
give me more action and take your rules and shove them. That's kind of where, if you're asking me how I actually feel as somebody watching this, I don't like it because it clearly upset the Padres, and and I think Kruko's totally right. And in their weird backwards, upside down baseball world, Dubon's thing was heinous. But I side with the fans. I see how much it costs for this form of entertainment. This is way, way more expensive than going to a movie. It's way more expensive than in some cases even going to a concert. I mean, baseball entertainment, Major League Baseball is an expensive brand of entertainment. And what are the Giants supposed to shut it down in the 6th? That means you paid for a full game, but you're really seeing 2/3 of a game, because for a third of the game, they're expected to do nothing because the Padres are so far back. So that's what I don't like. I don't like the rules that basically de-incentivize the players from putting on a show. The show should go from inning 1 through inning 9. That's how I feel about it as a viewer. Why? Because it's so damn expensive that I think you owe it to the fans to give them 9 great innings, not 6 great innings. And then, you got a big lead. So now everybody just gives away at bats and the other side's not supposed to steal bases and nobody's supposed to do it. You know what I mean? Are we shutting it down? I don't know. I feel the same way about like basketball garbage time. All bets are off, man. Let me see a show. If somebody in garbage time wants to throw one off the backboard to their teammate who's going to throw it down, you know what? I'm okay with that too. Why? Because that's athletes being athletic and putting on a show for people who paid, in some cases, a criminal amount of money for that show. So that's how I honestly feel. But I don't like to see I do think the Giants are going to get like the Padres A game tomorrow, where if without that Dubon play, who knows? Maybe they don't get the A game. Maybe they get the C game. Maybe they get the, let's just get out of town and get on to our next city game. But now, because of that, they kind of get the A game. And to me, that's my only real interest in that play.
No, I think you nailed it, man. And, I think, again, that's kind of where baseball, the players and even, front offices, and it's just, they've kind of lost sight of that, with the work stoppages and, just kind of taking the fun out of it. And I like it when sports embrace that side of it, because, again, if you don't have fans either at the games or watching the games, you've got nothing as a product. So that the interest of the fans needs to always be put first. And when anything that deviates from that, I think does a disservice to the game. Now, the other side of that, though, Larry, we just pointed out, if the Padres are bent out of let's see it, because not only tomorrow, but for the next, couple of series, these two teams are going to play all season long, because, there's going to be neck and neck with the Giants, the Padres, and the Dodgers. It'll probably be 3 teams fighting for playoff spots in the NL West. So as far as a shot across the bow early, I'm all in on that. But yes, man, the fans' needs should come first, because that's who keeps this game running.
Charles says, if you want a show, then ban all bunting and all walks. Well, I mean,
no,
that's
not home run derby, man. Not home run derby.
Here, this is another one that's kind of interesting. A little subplot. J Stamps 101 says Padres better not try to plunk someone tomorrow. Richardson got tossed because of those bozos. I believe Antoine Richardson, the first base coach, Antone Richardson maybe, got ejected from the game because Mauricio Dubon went out to his position without his cheat sheet defensive card. And this kind of shows how important that information is to the Giants. The whole purpose of having this young staff of guys because the old staff that they had with the last regime, they had all the rings, right? Those guys all had World Series rings, and they
Right.
didn't want those guys. They wanted these people. Well, why did they want these people instead of those people? Because they want Farhan. When I'm saying they, he wants his analytics that are cooked up in the front office. He wants to see those analytics brought to the field, not like every third day or most of the time. He wants those analytics utilized every inning of every game. And if you have a bunch of young coaches that don't have rings, you can kind of dictate to them how you want it and what are they going to say to you. But
Right.
Richardson got kicked out of this game, Rye, and I didn't realize what was going on. And I think what was happening is he handed Dubon one of those cheat sheet where this is where you play defensively, and that is against the rules. None of the coaches can assist any of the players and hand them anything in the midst of the game that's an aid in any way. And so he got ejected, and we saw Alyssa Natkin coaching first base. And then by the way, because she was coaching first base and she had never coached first base before, and she's a pioneer to begin with, she made history tonight because she's the first woman ever to coach first base in a major league game. So way to go, Alyssa Natkin.
Yeah, pretty cool there. And why isn't Dubon, if he just is supposed to have his cheat sheet with him again? You're talking about that minor league get down. Bring your cheat sheet with you, bro.
Isn't that amazing that they have cheat sheets
Hey,
and that they believe so completely in them that Rye, I've seen guys run 40 yards past like a double switch situation, and all of a sudden they run past the new left fielder and they'll run like 30, 40 yards back out there to give them the cheat sheet. I'd love to see one of those cheat sheets exactly how detailed it is, because it's not like they're kind of like, these guys look at it all the time. They look at it all the time.
107 wins last year. Farhan gets the benefit of the doubt. If he wants to hand those guys pixie sticks before they go out there, if that's the ticket, then so be it, man. Like, it starts at the top. It's Farhan's deal. He brought in Kapler. He brought in the new ethos for this baseball team. They won 107 freaking games last year, and everybody thought they'd be lucky to be 500. So if that's what it takes, hey, man, he gets the benefit of the doubt. Bochy's left the building, right? Sabes, all those guys, they're not around anymore. So it's Farhan's deal. And last year, he set the tone. So if that's and look, what is analytics, man? It's just information. It's knowledge, it's power. And the more information you can have, the better. The more information you can apply to help you in your endeavor, which is to win baseball games. If you think moving a left fielder over a couple of feet here, a second baseman a couple of feet there, like that gives you a better chance, man. It's all probability. And again, I'm a big poker player. It's a lot of probability. It's a lot of math. And I love that kind of stuff, man, because what you're trying to go for is this optimal output, right? What is going to give you the best chance to win? And look, man, starts at the top of Farhan. We knew what time it was when he came here. That's what he's all about. And that's why he was brought here. So I think it's important that they do adhere to it 24/7, 365, because that's what's going to get them back into the 100-win club and back into the postseason and maybe get another parade in San Francisco.
When I called you the other day, you were out in Emeryville playing poker. How'd you do?
I did pretty good, man. Yeah,
Did you?
Yeah, I crushed in February.
Knuckles needs a new pair of shoes.
I crushed in February. March was pretty good. I haven't had a chance to play a lot in April. I've been pretty busy, but I've been getting back at it. I had a good session today. I did end up winning the other day when you called me. So yeah, man, things. It's something been doing a long time. It's funny too, because you were talking about unwritten rules. There's unwritten rules of poker too. There's like a poker etiquette. You're not supposed to slow roll people. There's just, you're supposed to play and flow. Like, there's just little things that you're supposed to do. And it was funny when I started thinking the unwritten rules. I was like thinking about my craft in poker. I'm like, there's a ton of unwritten rules in poker, So
it's not just poker. It's not just poker. How many times you played 21 at a casino and some jackass? You got some jackass sitting at third base, hitting on 17.
Why are you taking my card, bro? You're killing me. I'm doubling down over here. I'm trying to win somebody. You got $5 on the table, man. I'm doubling down for like 300 right here. You just took my king, dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. You just took the dealer's bus card,
Yeah,
Jack.
exactly. Yeah.
Get lost.
We've all been there.
Chris says, Dubon costing us nonstop and getting other teams mad. He's annoying. This is kind of interesting. This Kapler, I guess, had his presser, and this is what he said. It says, this is John Anderson, says, Kapler just gave his press conference, and said he supported Dubon bunting. He says, we aren't trying to make outs. All right. Well, whatever he said to him, he said to him with an awful lot of,
if that's
he said to him with an awful lot of fire that his mouth was moving awfully fast.
If
I support you, brother.
If that was support, I'd hate to see what he looked like pissed at him. That's
seriously.
Sure. But maybe Cap wants to keep that between him and Dubon and because at the end of the day, like maybe even Cap reassess. Like it's the 6th inning, man. We're not in the bottom of the 8th here. Like, come on, it's the 6th inning. We got a lot of game to go here. So I don't know, maybe reassess, but maybe don't want to poke the bear too much. So I think he's trying to split the difference there.
Wow. I mean, seriously, that was support. I mean, it didn't look like support.
Like support from my mom.
Next time my wife is yelling at me like that, I'll be like, honey, are you supporting me right now?
Is this support? Because it doesn't feel supportive.
Is this your form of support? Rebel 4444 says, all I know is my fantasy team is thriving because of Belt, Cobb, and Craw. Why don't we talk about Cobb for a second, Rye? Yeah. Alex Cobb looked really sharp. And if there's one thing to be really excited about, it was the Giants' one turn through the rotation. There is no weakness there. And Cobb looked really sharp. 5 innings. Here's his line: 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned. He walked 2. He struck out 10, 83 pitches, 53 strikes. The stuff is well above average. And he's got breaking ball. He's got a breaking ball that baffles right-handed hitters. You can kind of tell. I was really impressed. Who would you say between Webb, Rodon, DeSclafani, Wood, and now Alex Cobb? Who would you say is the most impressive starter one time through?
I'd probably go with Rodon. I know they ended up not winning that game, but he looks so good. But Cobb's right on his tail, man. I mean, Cobb looks so freaking good. And keep in mind too, this is his first start in the National Leagues, first start wearing another jersey. And this isn't just a guy, that can pitch to just righties. I mean, what he did against lefties last year in the AL was incredible. So he looked real comfortable tonight. And it is nice when your offense goes out and lays a big number in the top of the first. It's a little easier to go out there and just settle the nerves a bit. So I think, clearly that made his job a lot easier. You can just go out there, throw strikes, command the zone and just get comfortable. But regardless, I mean, he's got swing and miss stuff. He's got a nice arsenal of pitches, been around for a while too. We know that this is a hitter's park. And I tweet out during the game tonight, man, Alex Cobb is your 5th starter right now. I'm in on that. So I'd go Rodon 1, Cobb 2, Webb probably 3. But I mean, all 5 of these guys, we know they can shove. We've seen the other guys do it before.
What I thought it was really impressive is, I cannot remember the Giants having this kind of a swing and miss staff since when they had Timmy and Kane and Bum and those guys, in the early 2009 through 2010, the early years of their run. Sure. Their 3 World Series. Because I mean, the one thing about having guys like this, Webb's going to have 10 strikeout games. Rodon's going to have 10 strikeout games. Now you look at Cobb. If he can have this many punch outs, man, you know what that's going to do? That's going to help the defense immeasurably. Because, if you can go 3 days a week where your defense can somewhat take a rest because you're getting, 8 to 10 strikeouts out of your 27 outs, I think over the course of 162, man, that is going to benefit greatly, especially as the Giants try to steal a little bit more offense by putting some kind of average defensive players out there to, just try to get as much thump as possible. It's nice that they've got 3 of their 5 starters can really, pile up strikeouts.
No, I think that's a great point. And, because for so many years it was predicated on, quality starting pitching, but they didn't have all the hitting to back it up. So you needed that great defense. You needed that lockdown pen. Well, now the team can hit a little bit, but let's face it. I mean, Belt's obviously a terrific defensive first baseman. Longoria, he's a Gold Glover, but he's getting up there in years. And, we got some guys with some big arms in the outfield. I mean, Yaz makes some terrific plays, but there are some liabilities defensively for this baseball team. And if you got guys that can go up there and get punch outs and not getting balls into play, I think that's huge. And I also think it's just deflating for the opposition. I mean, think about it. I know that the Padres don't have Tatis right now, and that's a massive hole in the middle of their lineup. But I mean, Cobb, once he settled in and he had the lead, I mean, you could just tell, like, the Padres just didn't really have a whole lot of answers. And when you're a pitcher, you can go up there, you can throw strikes, and hey, if I give up a solo home run right now, it's all good. It's not the end of the world. Like, that's a huge plus. Just don't walk guys. Keep it over the plate. And when you got swing and miss stuff on top of it, like, it just makes everything that much easier.
Tony says, Larry and Ryan, I can listen to these KNBR vets talk Giants ball all day. And look who got a what's up. Knuckles. Knuckles got a what's up.
Come here, baby. Come here, Knuck. The people are demanding some Knuck. So there he is.
Look at that.
Yeah, he was just over here laying down. Yeah. By the way, Dubon, I got the post game on in here on the TV. They're interviewing Dubon. I'm sure they're asking about it. The thing I love about Dubon, though, sipping on a cold beer while he's talking to the media. Like,
what kind of beer?
Yeah, let me rewind that real quick. It looked like probably something imported or something craft, I would imagine.
Pliny the Elder?
Yeah, look like actually, maybe a Blue Moon. Maybe it was just a Blue Moon.
I can go Blue Moon, but I can't go Orange Peel. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm out on that. It looks like a Blue Moon, dude. Yep, it's a Blue Moon. Yep, he's drinking a Blue Moon. All right. He's having a cold one after the game, though.
Did you see who was in the house tonight?
Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole.
Let's go.
Right behind the dugout. That's Jordan Poole probably makes $5 million a year, something like that.
Something like that.
He got free tickets.
Oh,
why
100%.
is it that
rich people get everything free?
Why is it that the people that can afford the tickets are given freebies?
A
guy's making $5 million a year. Here's 3 tickets behind the dugout. No, it's on us.
When I worked in radio, hey, Lee Hammer, man, can I get some tickets? Hey, I got some SROs for you, Covay.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You go stand out in the bleachers, behind everybody. I got a few SROs for you. Thanks, Hambone.
Lee had box seats, but he traded them for a windbreaker and 2 SROs.
I love Lee Hammer. Let the record show. I love Lee Hammer.
He kept the windbreaker and gave you the SROs.
Hey, I'll tell you what though. More than once, I was gifted some tickets, from sales or whatever at both stations, and you bet your ass I went down to the ballpark and sold those bad boys. Like, you got me making pennies on the dollar in here. I'm gonna walk my ass down to the ballpark and hawk these bad boys. Knuckles got to eat, baby.
Jordan Poole, $20 million he's going to make soon, but he was given 3 freebies. Tyler Beede made his 2022 debut. This was one of the things I was waiting for. I didn't know what we were going to see with Tyler Beede. Now he's out of options, right? So there's that. And I don't know what the future holds for him. I mean, he was the first round pick in 2014. He's throwing 98 miles an hour, but I think you got a glimpse today of why he's such an enigma and why there's still these questions, because he's throwing 97. He's got 3 pitches. He's got a pretty nasty breaking ball. He's obviously got pretty good stature. He's about 6'4", about 220. So he's like perfect pitcher's build for what they're looking for. And yet, they're up 9 runs and he's putting guys on base and he's walking guys. And it's just like, what is his future here? I mean, is he really just a mop-up guy? I mean, right now, Rye, they got 28-man roster, but eventually they'll have to pare that down by a couple to 26. Is he going to get dumped? He's out of options. They can't send him back to the minor leagues. Are they going to trade him? Are they going to give him some high leverage opportunities? Is he strictly mop-up? I don't know what the plan is for Tyler Beede, but man, he's too good to clear waivers. If you try to put him through waivers, he's going to be in the Diamondbacks rotation like next week. So if you want that, just put him through waivers.
No, and it's a good problem to have as far as, having talented guys that maybe are on a certain level disposable, but they've invested so much time in him. And, coming off the Tommy John, like, you got to give him a little time to get comfortable. I'd much rather see him coming out of the pen. What do you call it? Mop up duty right now. That's fine. Like, let's let him get comfortable and show that he's back from the surgery and throwing the ball well. All we've heard for how many years, Larry, the stuff. It took Krueg 0.4 seconds to reference the stuff from Tyler Beede as soon as he hit the hill tonight. So there's obviously a ton of talent there. When you can throw that kind of flame, like, you will be a commodity in Major League Baseball. This organization has invested a lot of capital in him, a lot of time. You might as well see what you got. And here's the other thing. I mean, look, pitchers go down all the time. Like, just because the Giants got 5 healthy right now, okay, talk to me in July. Talk to me in August, September. Like, we'll see how it goes. If Tyler Beede is throwing the ball well, there'll be a part to play. And guess what? If he's not, he won't be around. Like, because the other part of it too is Farhan, and it starts at the top. He hasn't shown this propensity to stay connected to guys that aren't producing. He doesn't care what the paycheck says. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. I think this organization wants to give Beede one more shot because they know he's talented as hell. But if he doesn't produce and he becomes expendable, he'll be out, and that'll be that. And really, he's 2014 first-round pick. Like, he's 28 years old now. Like, the time is now for Beede. So if it doesn't happen now, say la vie, but I think you got to give it another go and see what he's got after the surgery.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because the guy walked 3 guys in a situation where he's got a big lead. The last thing you want to do in that situation is walk anybody. To walk 3 kind of shows that his command is dicey. We have our first donation of the night. James Foster weighing in. He says, Krueger and Covay always been the best.
Right on, bro.
Covay's my guy, man. We go way back, man. I remember, Covay by the Bay. I think I probably called you Covay by the Bay. I'm not sure if anybody else calls you that.
I think you coined that. I remember you, me, and Pecan going out for the Army-Navy game. I think we were in Philly or Baltimore? Maybe it was
Philly. We were in Philly.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That was fun. Shout out to John Hancock, dude. Good times.
We got pretty lit that opening night in Philly.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
All I know is, I mean, I don't remember yakking, but it was a busy night. It was an action-packed evening.
That was 8 years ago, by the way. Make you feel old real quick. 8 years.
You know what? It's funny that we bring up our Army-Navy trip, because I was just telling somebody a story today. Somebody was telling me about this Brazilian steakhouse I got to go to, right?
Ooh,
and I'm like, you know what? When I was in Philly, we, it was USAA.
Dugout, was it? I think it was called. I
forget. I go. We got invited to a USAA dinner. They were the sponsor, and they invited us to an all-paid dinner at this 5-star Brazilian steakhouse in downtown Philly.
Oh, Fogo de Chao. That's what it was. Fogo de Chao.
And it was awesome. I mean, a killer salad bar, and then they just kept bringing you meat on a skewer. Remember
Fogo
that?
de Chao. That was it.
It was awesome.
Yep.
And Pecan begged out so he could go spend his own money and have dinner at Chili's.
Remember
that?
We were at Fogo de Chao having this bomb meal
with booze and drinks. And
he was so excited. Pecan was so excited. He's like, bro, they got a Chili's. I'm out. I was like, oh, Pat, you are one.
Dude, you're gonna awesome blossom your ass down the street to Chili's. We're at the Brazilian steakhouse, bro.
You go Monterey chicken over beautiful sliced medium rare, and they're picking up the tab too. If you're picking up the tab, take me to Taco Bell. We're going.
Awesome. I mean, what's that about? Are you in love with the lemonade refills? I mean, what's going on there?
Yeah, they'll get you a free refill of Fogo de Chao too. I promise you. And John Hancock and them were picking up the tab. So
yes,
get a cocktail, baby.
J Stamps 101. Fogo is delicious.
There it is. Yeah,
dude, it was an epic dinner too. It was epic dinner. They kept bringing turkey, chicken breasts on the skewers. Would you like one, sir? I just kept going. Just
yes, please.
Please. Bring me 2, and when I pass out, just bring me 1.
Yeah, maybe bring me a wet rag because I got the meat sweats jumping off.
Do you guys have any Tupperware in the back?
I brought some aluminum foil. Is that bad etiquette?
I brought some aluminum foil and a duffel bag. I've got to pick up my buddy from Chili's on the way back to our restaurant.
Gotta swing by and pick him up. He's got me some garlic toast too that he's going to grab at Chili's.
Okay, here's my other one tonight. I don't get the Giants. I do not understand. Help me understand the Giants. Eliot Ramos hits 2 balls 2 days ago, 110 miles an hour, not to be seen from since. Tonight, his entire family flew from God knows where to San Francisco to sit in the coldest damn ballpark they've probably ever been in their life. They showed this kid gets the guy gets a defensive replacement in the 8th or something like that. I mean, my God, his whole family's there. That was embarrassing that they showed the family. I felt bad for the family. I'm like, why are you not playing this kid? Did he lose a bet to somebody? There were the hardest ball hit this year, Joey Bart. opening day. Second hardest and third hardest in that Marlins series were off the bat of Ramos, and he sat yesterday, and then he's sitting again today. Just like, is he he's a left hand? He's going to hit off just lefties. Is that what he's here for? I mean, I just can't think of a worse plan than to take a 22-year-old kid and ice him for a couple games in freezing territory, freezing stadium in April, while his family's sitting in the stands watching Steven Duggar and Mike Yastrzemski. I mean, I don't get it, man. Put him out. Either send him back if he needs more seasoning, or put him in there. Don't tell me this guy's just don't tell me he's just there to face lefties. I mean, come on.
107 wins, Larry. 107 wins. You got to earn your keep on this ball club.
Seriously. Is that it? Is that it?
I guess they have a lot of guys that can hit the ball. Okay. They've got a deep lineup. I think, right now, Kapler doesn't, like Bart, doesn't want to put too much pressure on him. And look, those guys, in the outfield, I mean, Yastrzemski, Duggar, those guys have earned their spots out there. So I would have liked to have seen him at least pinch hit, instead of the right field cameo. It was funny. That's when they went to his family on the broadcast. I was like, oh yeah, Ramos, where's he tonight? And then they pan over, he's out in right field. It's like, yeah, baby, I made it in, Mom and Dad.
What if the family flipped the bird?
We're freezing our asses off out here.
We're freezing our asses off. We can't even get our kid in the game.
It's not Little
We're
League.
up 10 runs. Put them in. We're here.
Despite what you thought the helmets look like, Larry, it's not Little League. So
I mean,
they'll get plenty of Ramos is going to get plenty of.
I know. Put him in. Put him in. Put him in.
Yeah.
I mean, his family's so sweet. They're sitting there just smiling.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a big smile. Hey.
They're doing the Stone Cold, the double birds.
That would have been awesome if they had like bags over their head or something, or screw Gabe Kapler signs.
Yeah, that's good. Where's Ramos?
Yeah, exactly.
No, he'll get plenty of opportunities. Man.
Witness protection program. I mean, what is it going to take? Why are they so adverse to putting him in there? He looks great. Play him.
It's game 5.
Like,
there's so much time to go. If we're sitting here a couple of weeks from now and Ramos is like, look, he looked great. I'm ready to see what he's got. I mean, there's so much riding on this kid. Like, you just I got no problem bringing him along slowly, especially if you've got what you think is serviceable or better alternatives right now. And look, man, this team's playing for big stakes. Okay. They're not the Orioles. Okay. They're not some trash ass rebuilding team. They won 107 freaking games. It's a division game against the Padres. You're trying to set the tone. Dodgers were raking what I saw tonight. It's going to take a ton of wins to win the NL West this year. So don't put too much on Ramos's plate right now. We know the kid can play. He's going to get plenty of opportunities. Would have been nice to see him get a little AB in front of the family. Maybe Cap didn't know his family was there. What do you think? Ramos went up to him. Hey, Skip, I'm just real happy to be up here with the big club. By the way, Mom and Pa are here tonight, so maybe if you get me in there, I sure would appreciate. He's not going to do that. So Kapler's got enough on his plate, man. He can't worry about that.
I went to the JV baseball game today, and I felt like the coach saw me there, and he pinch hit my kid in the last inning. I mean, seriously, I get more respect from the JV coach at Northgate than Ramos's whole family gets for flying into town on a freezing April night to watch Ramos sit the bench for 8 innings in a blowout.
You better have more clout in the Bay than Ramos's family at this point. That's all I got to say about that, Larry. You've been around long.
My kid pinch hit in the 7th inning, took one off the dome, dude.
Oh, is he okay?
No, it was off the helmet, but first pitch off the dome.
I
was like, yes, my kid's in there.
Kid. Take your base.
Yeah. He ran to first like he didn't. He's like, Dad. I said, you all right? He's like, yeah, Dad. Just off the back of the helmet. Barely felt it at all.
Love it.
All right. Hey. Tough kid. Take after your mom.
For sure. So if I got hit with a baseball, you wouldn't see me for a month.
I would still be in a heap. I'd still be laying there at home plate. Rebel 444 says, I'm making a shirt that says, "Where's Ramos?" and I'm wearing it to my next game.
Go sit with his family.
Yeah, seriously. Get Ramos's family wears Ramos t-shirts.
Well, I'll bet you they're here for more than a day too. I wouldn't be
let's hope.
surprised to see
Let's
Ramos.
hope. What if tomorrow
It was a one-day deal.
What if the guy hits like 3 bombs tomorrow and they're like, hey, we'd love to show you his family, but they were only in for last night's game. They had to take off.
They were on the red eye back to
They're on the red eye back to wherever.
I was so pissed. They just cut.
They got frostbite last night sitting in the stands. They're not back.
They had to go to the ER to deal with their frostbite from work.
They're getting hot chocolate because they're so freezing from last night.
Dude, it was cold tonight, by the way. You could tell the guys in the dugout were cold.
Oh, it was a cold night.
Yeah.
King Tone says, Larry, I missed the Milkmen. Remember Melky Cabrera and the Milkmen? This region falls for that stuff more than any other region, right? Come on. Dude, I mean, seriously, I'll say this. I'm going to say it right now. I, Larry Krueger, have never donned a panda hat that I purchased. I did wear one on the show with Gary a couple times. There we go. High five.
Ryan Covay have never donned any of that crap. I bought my cousin a Let Timmy Smoke shirt like about 10 years ago because he wanted one. So I bought one off a dude on the street. I think that's about it for the gimmicks for me. And by the way, I went on record about a year ago saying the song Don't Stop Believing is so played out. It's done. I don't want to hear it again. Don't stop. Let it die, bro.
I can remember making out in summer camp with some girl in the back of the bus coming back from I don't know where.
You never stop believing, Larry?
Don't stop believing. Yeah. I had the belief back then.
At some point,
Rohan says it was reported that Ramos's family's here tomorrow as well.
Oh, thank God.
When he's starting. So
I'll be able to sleep tonight.
Yes, seriously.
Praise Jesus.
I mean, it was cold though, and it was a blowout. And it's like, would it really have killed you to throw the kid out there? I mean, my goodness. But seriously, back to this region falling for it.
Yeah,
people bought the panda hats in huge number. People bought the milkmaid. There were so many, the milkmaids, the milkmen. People died for that.
Dude, Andrew the astrologer still talks about Duffy's cat Skeeter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean Duffy's cat Skeeter. I mean, there's a segment of the population of Giants fans that are just, I love them, but they're sappy as hell.
Larry, I am way too self-centered to really put too much on what anybody else is doing. I'm way too much in my own world. I can look at things from afar though and be like, oh, that's really happening, huh? Okay. All right. I don't want to spoil anybody's good time, but good
King Tones says South Detroit. No one was born in South Detroit.
You're in Lake Michigan. If you're south of Detroit, you're in Lake Michigan. Shout out to overnight Dave Jenks. He was the one that pointed that out to me. So, nobody was raised in South Detroit. You're in the Lake Michigan, man. So yeah, I agree. If you're born in Detroit, you left a long ass time ago. I promise you that.
As long as the Giants are winning, Ramos is not the priority. All right.
That's a solid take, Rob.
Rob Rothberg. There's always got to be somebody who makes sense in the damn chat.
Yeah, that's played out.
Robert, get out of here, man. You're making too much sense. You're not good for post game. I always hated the guy who would call up like 9 calls in and be like, Krueg, it's only one game.
Perspective here, Krueg. You're getting too emotional right now. Hey, let me ask you.
That's the easy way out in baseball, man. Any kind of baseball post game, you just wait for some vitriol to get dialed up, and then you drop hey guys,
it's just a game.
It's just one game.
One of 162, fellas.
It's one of 162.
One of 162.
By the way, I'm tired of being on the left. I'm going to switch over. I'm going to go on the right. Look at that.
Ooh. All right.
Look at that.
I like that.
Oh!
Look at it go. I like that. This is my good side anyway. Yeah, there you go. That's my good side. So thank you very much.
I'm tired of being over there. It was, it was bugging me.
Let me ask you, Larry. So 107 last year.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously,
I will not take questions.
Expectations were not high, but they knocked it out of the park last year. And even, the series with the Dodgers, I mean, God, they were so close. But regardless, what are your realistic expectations for this year? I mean, can this team double down and win the NL West again? I mean, the Dodgers are a freaking juggernaut, man.
Yeah. Well, look what it took.
Right.
I mean, think about it. LA won the division 8 straight years. And then look what it took for the Giants to overtake them. They had to win 107. And, in LA, I would say that the Giants look like a solid 90 win team. I think the talent is like 85 wins, but the analytics and the incremental improvement that the staff will gain, that Farhan through the analytics, that Gabe will gain through using the analytics. I think the analytics help them immeasurably on the mound because it helps their defensive positioning. We used to talk about pitching and defense. Really, right now in baseball, it's pitching and defense and positioning. It's those three things. It's pitching, defense, and positioning. Pitching, defense, and then your analytics give you the positioning. So I think their positioning is incredible. Their pitching looks really deep. And I think the defense, because of the analytics, will be good. It's about the offense. I think it's an 85 win team right now, but they're rich. They're rich as far as how much money they have. They're rich as far as how many prospects they have to deal if they want to. They're a relatively rich team. So because I know Farhan and I feel like I know Farhan's like an insanely competitive, don't let that engaging laugh fool you. He's a crazy competitor.
Yeah, he ain't no teddy bear.
No, and he's just not going to sit back. He's just not going to sit back and allow this team to struggle. If they struggle on the mound, he'll add pitching. If they struggle at the plate, he'll add hitting. If they struggle in the field, he'll add defense. The old Giant regime, you almost felt like they were like it was a cross-Atlantic cruise, and everybody was boarding, and like nobody was getting off the boat until they got to the destination. With this current regime, it's like, if you produce, you stay. If you don't, you're gone. And when I say gone, maybe you'll be gone to the DL. Maybe you'll be gone DFA'd. Maybe you'll be gone traded. Maybe you'll be gone waived. There's ways that they're going to kind of fool with the roster. Yeah. And he's given himself roster flexibility with kind of how he assembles the back end of his roster with guys on minor league deals. So I just think that between Gabe and Farhan's competitiveness, that's worth about 5 wins. So I got him at about 85 wins talent-wise, and with those guys' competitive fire and all their juggling and incremental improvement every day and playing the matchup game and playing the hot hand, I think that's worth 5 or 6 wins. So I think they're like a 90 win team, 91 win team, and I think that's good enough to make the playoffs in the National League, but I don't think it's going to be good enough to win the division.
Yeah, I think we're definitely. Yeah, I think we're definitely looking at a playoff team. The depth is really what's impressed me. And, I think it was so important too when they brought in this new, way of thinking with Farhan. He wanted to see who was on board with it, right? And, guys like Belt and Crawford, Longoria kind of started at the top. All these guys essentially bought in, right? And then they added to this team as needed. And, Farhan, he was a little fast and loose with the bottom part of that roster for a while until he got the right guys, right? And a lot of these guys are maybe either more the no-name type or the reclamation project, whatever. The kind of guys 10 through 25 on that roster, and I think that's the testament to Farhan's ability to not pick the flashiest guys, about picking the right guys, right? And I think they've done a really good job at that, and everybody knows their role. Everybody's comfortable with it, and you're right. They don't have passengers, and last year it was time and time again. One night it would be it would be Casali, and one night it'd be Crawford, and one night it would be Ruff, and then Bill Flores would have a big night. And when you don't have just
Bill Flores.
Yeah, that's Bill Flores, baby. That's trademark Ryan Covay, copyrighted. Okay, so don't be trying to take that. All right, I've been calling Bill Flores from the jump. But like when you have so many different guys like that who, kind of, they have a spirit about the game. They kind of treat every game like it could be their last. Quite frankly, a lot of these guys know there's problems. There's Stremskys of the world, the Solanos, guys like that have made their name with this team. Like I think that's kind of been their mantra, and I think that's important because even Kapler came here with a ton of scrutiny, right? I mean, he bombed in Philly, and everyone's like, You hired that dude? What? And Farn's like, yup. And, can't argue with the results. They were damn near, a playoff team, even with the expanded format, during the COVID season. And then last year, 107 wins. So, yeah, man, it's certainly working. And I think there's just a kind of a blue collar spirit about this team that, maybe the teams, the guys that were still around after 10, 12, and ultimately 14, maybe a little complacency and guys kind of, we've done our thing. Our legacies are secure. It's like, no, man. Let's out with the old, in with the new. There's no room for sentimentality in this. If you're not producing, and by the end of it all, after 16, this team wasn't producing, you got to go. This is the Giants. They're a big market club. So I like what he came here and has done so far. And, if they need to add to this team, last year they went out and got Brian at the deadline. They'll do it again this year if they're in the hunt. But I definitely think we're looking at a playoff team. Hey, baby. My wife just walked in the room.
Nice. You're a newlywed still, aren't you?
About a year and a half. Yeah. So she's having a great time though. She's so stoked to be married to me. She is.
I saw you guys. You had a party a couple weeks ago. You saw that nice picture
I threw a little,
there?
she's turning 40 in a couple weeks. So I threw a little surprise party for her 40th over at my folks' house. Her parents came down, her aunt and uncle. And so we had a bunch of people over there. We got her good too. We did.
Dude, I saw those pictures. You're looking lean and mean, by the way, these days.
We're working on it, man. I probably packed on maybe about, a few extra pounds lately after COVID. And, I probably could maybe get back on the elliptical a little more often, but I feel pretty good. I do. I'm certainly under my KNBR days weight. That's for sure.
It's time for the Krueg phone. We're going to open up the Krueg phone. We can take video calls. Did you know that, Covay?
Oh, I love it. Do
you like video calls? We're going to take some video calls. So if you want to, Len's going to put the thing in the chat, and we'll take some video calls. But before we do that, we got to shout out to our sponsors. First of all, let me move that out of the way so we can definitely see our sponsors. There we go. Hide that. And so one of our sponsors is Telmetrics, and Telmetrics is a brand new sponsor for us. And let me tell you a little bit about them. They're a phenomenal company. If you're an orthopedic surgeon, an occupational therapist, a chiropractor, a physical therapist, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. So Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in clinical and telehealth environments. Using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injuries and physical rehabilitation specialists, be sure to go to Telmetrics.co. And we thank Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a sponsor of the Krueg Show. And of course, our other sponsor we've also had on the show a few times, and that's our good friend Dan Coachemilio. And Dan is a retirement planning specialist, and you can catch him at 925-628-9966 or online at Secure Money. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, and you want make sure that your money is safe for your retirement. Danny's got 25 years of experience in this field. He was born and bred in the Bay Area, is a Bay Area native, and Dan can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call right now, 925-628-9966, and make an appointment. And if you want to know what he's about and what he sounds like and what he seems like, there's a video on a couple videos so far on the Krueg Show channel you can check out, where we sat down and talked a little sports with Danny and talked to him a little bit about his business and how he helps people. And you can check that out. So you get a firsthand look at Danny up close, but you give him a call, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com. Dan Coachemilio, retirement planning specialist. And who knows, Danny might be one of our calls later on tonight. So he's a good sports fan for sure. We got a bunch of people in the chat that have some interesting things that I wanted to get to here. Let's just roll down the line here. King Tone says, I miss Ryan Covay on KNBR. Hey guys, what happened to Drew Hoffer and Rudy Ortiz? He doesn't have Twitter. You kept up with either Hoff or Rudy Ortiz?
I think, Hoff ended up getting married. He married a gal that used to work at the radio station.
Katie Green, I believe.
Yeah, he married Katie, yeah. I think he said he was going to be a sheriff or something. Rudy was always a comedian first, so I think he's still doing the comedy thing. But I haven't stayed in touch with either one of those guys, so I don't know for sure. But I know Drew recently got married, so shout out to him for that.
We got this one from Suffering Bastard. Nice. Are you going to be hosting post-game shows all season? That's the plan. That's the plan, to do post-game shows all season. And, we had Marty on last night. We had Mark Sweeney on last night. Covay's joining us tonight. Ned Galetti's going to be with us Friday night after the Guardians Giants game on Friday from Cleveland. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Rohan Sports 27 joins us. Rohan, how are you tonight? Say hi to Ryan Covay.
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Doing fantastic. What's on your mind?
I wanted to talk. Obviously, we just saw the last 2 days. Giants pitching prowess is there, but on the hitting side, right? Eliot Ramos probably comes in tomorrow against whoever it is, Manaea or Snell. What do you think are the expectations for the Giants lineup tomorrow, especially with we get to see a second look kind of Eliot Ramos?
Well, I think the Giants lineup against left-handed pitching is going to be very interesting to watch in April. Why? Because look at all the right-handed bats they lost. Chris Bryant drove in 3 tonight in Colorado. He's no longer here. Donnie Solano's in Cincy. Buster retired. Longoria's hurt. So you got a lot of right-handed sticks who were, guys who were driving the bus a year ago who now are not driving the bus. So, that I don't know what to expect if it's Manaea tomorrow. I really don't. When they go up against lefties in the first part of this year, it's going to be, they're going to need guys like Ramos. So I got to be honest. I think this on paper is where the Giants have to be concerned, is how do they score runs against left-handed pitching minus 4 or 5 of their key right-handed bats from a year ago. So I think it's a bit, it's asking an awful lot of guys like Austin Slater. It's asking an awful lot of Darren Ruff, who's played a ton here in the early season. It's asking a lot of Ramos, but I would imagine we'll see all those guys in there tomorrow. So I guess it's just like a kind of a TBD, to be determined what we're going to get against the left-handed pitching when it comes to the early part of the year. Covay, why don't you jump into the center square and give the answer? What do you think tomorrow? If it is, let's say it's Manaea. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's probably why Ramos is here too, right? Because that is a huge gap. You laid out all the personnel that's moved on. I do think that's something that if it really becomes an issue for this team hitting lefties as the year progresses, I think it's something that we'll see them address. You're going to get an opportunity to see Ramos for sure in those respects. I do think there's some decent, guys on this team that are decent hitting, either side, what lefties and righties. Clearly they're geared right now towards hitting right-handed pitching, but right. You'll get some Ramos, you get some Slater. And if this is something that plagues this team as the year goes on, you'll probably see Farhan address it and get some more sticks in here to help out hitting against left-handed pitching.
Al Prez says, need another big hitter ASAP. We'll put you back in the center square there. Rohan, what do you think? What do you think of our answers there?
I think the concern is definitely fair, and not necessarily concern, right? But it is early. You do want to see what he has. And I'm wondering if the Giants, obviously, because they're a competitive team, Ramos is a young player. I wonder if they give him somewhat of a short leash or if they let him progress as he plays. It seems like they like to hit him against left-handed pitching. So I'm wondering, do they let him have an extended stay in the big leagues once they cut down rosters, or do they potentially send him down given the limited time that he's played with the team?
Yeah, now I'm back in the center square. No, I'll say this. I think he's too talented. Right. And he's not 20, he's 22 and he's been in pro ball since he was 17. And you got to think that if there hadn't been a lockout, if there hadn't been the pandemic, he's probably up and playing by now. I think I think you're right, Rohan, to say that it's kind of interesting and to bring it up as a unknown, because I think it is an unknown. We really don't know how they're going to play their hand with Ramos. they could view Ramos as a guy who should have been up a year ago and be real aggressive with him this year and kind of force feed him at the major league level. Or, they could be, real guarded with him and kind of treat him with kid gloves and kind of baby him a little bit as they're trying to introduce him to the mix. Covay, it's kind of a tough call as far as, what's the best route to develop a player. We've seen teams have success, introducing players at the big league level in multiple ways. It's just kind of how they see fit with this player.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much going to be up to Ramos to decide how much playing time he's going to get, right? If you produce and you look the part, you're going to play. Like there's a lot riding on him. He's obviously a huge piece of the puzzle in the future. They want this guy to be in the center of the lineup and be one of the first names on Kapler's lineup card for many years to come. That's the priority. It's not, what can Ramos do to necessarily help the 2022 Giants win? I think it's more about making sure that he's fit to be in the big leagues, and you don't want to put too much on his plate. But that's where Kapler being in tune with his guys, and with Ramos in particular in this case, that's where that's going to be key. That kind of relationship, that kind of communication, and where's his head at right now? Is Ramos one of those guys that has that steel mentality that if he has an 0 for 12 streak, like is he going to be up there squeezing the bat tight, or is he staying loose? And that's going to be up to Kapler to gauge, because let's face it, like hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in pro sports. Even if you're the best at what you do, you're going to have periods where you struggle. So Kapler's going to have to be mindful of that. But let's make no mistake about it, guys. Like Ramos is a massive talent, right? So if he produces, he is going to play. That is optimal situation A for this baseball team right now, is that Ramos is major league ready and he produces. And look, if he struggles, okay, you send him back down for a while. It's not the end of the world. It's still a very talented team without Ramos. So he's going to get an opportunity to succeed. They're not going to throw too much on his plate right away. And really, how he plays will determine how much he's around. I don't think you're not worried about destroying his confidence or something. I mean, look, man, if he's that frail, he's not going to cut it at the major league level anyway. But I think we all see a guy that looks the part. He's got that enthusiasm to him, and he looks like he's ready. But only time will tell, man. It's a don't tell me, it's a show me situation.
He's guys built like a tank. There's no question. Rohan, what did you think of our answer? You got anything else on your way out the door as we take another call?
So I thought the talks about Ramos were fair. The second question I have considers another younger player, Joey Bart. I think like when you look at Joey Bart, right, and how the football talk there, how the San Francisco Giants handled Buster Posey last year, kind of limiting his appearances in a way to preserve the body and to just bring him along, which was en route to his amazing season. Do you think the Giants do a similar thing with Joey Bart this year with the addition of Curt Casali, the retaining of Curt Casali, who played obviously against Trevor Rogers, I believe, when they faced the Marlins in the last series? And if so, do you think the Giants kind of need to upgrade that position? Because Casali at this point in his career is somewhat on the decline on the offensive level. Do you think that that's as important at the catcher position if we have somewhat of a platoon at catcher or not?
We only take one question per call.
Larry, you cracked yourself up.
I'm sorry. I just, after that question, I had to throw that one out. No, I think it's a good question, but I think, Bart's here. I mean, they it's interesting. Farhan didn't draft Bart. He did draft Patrick Bailey. And then there's Genovez, who's from Venezuela, I believe is the next catcher down at AAA. So there was a lot of unknown as far as, how much belief did Farhan have in Joey Bart. But just hearing Farhan talk about him earlier this year, it seemed to me that he really does believe in Bart. And I think Bart has kind of won them over with his work ethic and how he's improved his game, both at the plate and his, one of the revelations of spring was how patient Joey Bart was. And if Joey Bart can continue to demonstrate that level of patience and get his walk rate up and bring his strikeout rate down, I think he's here for the duration. I really do. Though I'll say this, I watched Bailey in the Cactus League and I saw him rip a double down the line, and supposedly he calls a hell of a game. And so they're, the Giants are there's a lot of teams around baseball that are really, in dire need of catching. The Giants have like 4 or 5 really intriguing catchers in their organization, between Casale, who had a great year as a backup, then Bart, then Bailey, then Genovese, then they've got a guy named Sagustny, I believe, who's down at one of the lower levels. I mean, they've got 4 or 5 guys that are like, really, really highly thought of. So I think that they are fortified at that position, at least as much as you can be. But I loved what I saw from Bart. Rohan, we'll let you go, man. But thanks for joining us. Was it hard to get in tonight?
No, I mean, it was fairly easy. I thought it was pretty good.
All right. Hey, have a great night, and appreciate you stopping by the Krueg show. And we'll put him back in the studio, and then we kick him out of the studio. That's what it actually says in the app. Do I want to kick Rohan out of the studio?
It's cold-blooded.
Yeah, it's cold-blooded. It really is. But it does open up a line for you to chime in here at idon'tremember.com. No, I don't know what the phone number is, but it's there in the chat. Len put it in there. Punch it up if you want to jump in. If you want to ask me a question, if you want to ask Ryan a question, that's our sports phone. Like we're calling it sports phone. I don't know why we came up with. I don't know how we came up with sports phone. It seems catchy. Like, maybe we should go with, how about sports phone? What do you think? It's got legs.
Yeah, I like that. I do. I hosted the last sports phone ever, by the way.
Did you?
I did.
You did such damage to it that they ruined the.
I know, yeah.
They tore. Look, Covay was just the host. We need to change. We need new branding altogether.
Well, it was the inexplicable change to KNBR tonight, which made no sense because that whole sports phone thing was so played out, right? But before they made the change, but I had you on. No, I remember I had on all the dudes. I had on like Fitz, I had on Franny, I had on FP. They had on a bunch of dudes that had hosted Ray, a bunch of dudes that had hosted Sports Phone over the years. Even Scott Farrell sent in a message that night, which is kind of cool. So yeah, man, I sent it out right, dude, because that was a show I always wanted to host, man. I was like, dude, Sports Phone 680, dude. Damon even sent me a message from the other station at the time. So yeah, it was all love for Sports Phone, man. I freaking love Sports Phone.
Here we go. We got this one. Darren Lee, Sports Phone 680 with Covay.
For like a hot second. You know what I mean? Like for a hot second.
How about the Krueg phone?
Krueg phone. I like Krueg. Yeah, Krueg phone.
Who was the best host of Sports Phone ever? Outside of me, of course.
Yeah, I mean, dude, obviously you.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I mean, it was me.
You know what? I'll toss Damon some flowers. Like Damon did a pretty nice job with that show. I thought Damon was pretty solid with that. I mean,
who would win a fight between you and Damon?
Oh, we know what time it is. Damon lost a lot of weight, man. No, I love D. I love D Bruce, man. No. Damon's hella cool, man. He really looked out for me too over 95.7.
How close did you guys come to throwing hands?
Look, man.
Like, how close? Come on. Oh, and now the light went dark. Now Knuckles is getting testy.
He didn't want none. No, you know what? No, you know what? Look, man, that was a younger version of Covay. I learned a lot about myself. Don't take yourself so serious.
You were a hothead. Damn
obviously.
Hothead.
No, hey, look, I'm a married man.
You were his producer,
now.
right?
Yeah.
He was my producer.
Yeah, Dave. Hey, look, and David
used to tell him to get out of the room. Be like, dude, get out of the room. Get out of here.
Yeah, he's a pain in the ass sometimes, but like that's also part of the charm too. So it's one of those things where like you when you're in it, sometimes you need to like take a step out and be like, oh man, I'm gripping this throttle just a little bit too tight right now. Somebody walking by and be like, dude, relax. And then you look at me like, yeah, you know what? You're right.
People are weighing in with who their favorite Sports Phone host was. Scotty Farrell.
Yeah,
it's not Fear All. It's Scotty Farrell.
Yeah,
we got a vote for Stephen Jace's Ray Woodson.
Shout out Ray Woody. Dude, I produced for Ray for a long time. Burnsy was fun on Sports Phone, man, but
Burnsy was not bad.
Yeah.
Michael Urban.
Shout out to Herb. Dude, he'll still text me every now and again. I freaking love
Michael Urban gets a vote.
Bro, he's
how come Rich Herrera never gets any votes?
Dude, Candido can't get any love out here. What's up?
Candido, when I was a kid, I grew up in the Avenues. Right. Now, where did you grow up, Ryan?
I grew up in El Sobrante, and then we moved to in Pinole, and then we moved to Lafayette, like right before I started, like right at the end of 8th grade.
Where'd you go to high school?
Acalanes. I went to Acalanes. Yeah.
Okay. So I went to St. Ignatius, grew up in the Avenues, grew up listening to Ralph. And, I mean,
R.I.P.
Before Ralph, there was Dave Newhouse, who was
Yep.
probably too nice for sports radio, to be honest. Too nice of a guy for sports radio. You can't be that nice and be on sports radio. Before, though, him, it was Ken Dito. And Rye, people used to call up with the most cockamamie, one-sided garbage trades. And Dito would lose his S every single time. I'll give you an example. He'd be like, "Let's go to Bob and Benicia. Hey, what's up, Ken? This is Bob and Benicia. I think the Giants need a third baseman. What do you think of this trade? They should trade Guy Soulars and Joe Patini to the Phillies for Schmidt."
Yeah, we'll get right on that. You couldn't even get Mike Schmidt's mustache for those two bums.
And instead of just going, dude, that's crazy talk.
Right.
Get the hell out of here. Dito would just lose it. What a terrible trade!
Are you crazy?
Going nuts,
Right on.
absolutely nuts.
I love that.
All right, just some guy says Larry and Damon. All right, thank you
Fair
for
enough.
that one. King Toes says, what happened to Michael Urban?
He's around.
Where's Herbs? Where's
Yeah,
Herbs these days?
he was doing some work over at 95.7 for a few years. And I don't know what he's doing now. But I'll say this about Michael Urban. He is a great man. He really is. He's incredible. He's just a solid dude. He's turned his life around. He's really open about that and like some of the struggles that he had in his private life and like totally open about it. And so I'm not putting his business out on the streets. Like Herb's a good dude. He'll check in with me every now and again. He'll shoot me a text like, "How you doing, man? Everything good?" I got him on the show Breaking Bad. I know, right? Hot take, right? Hey, you should watch Breaking Bad, Herbs. But when he watched it, dude, he would text me like, now, keep in mind, Breaking Bad's like 10 years old. You know what I mean? And so it's just funny reliving it with Herbs as he was watching it, as he was watching it for the first time. So anyway, shout out to Herbs.
King Tone says, Gary Radnich, where did you grow up, punk? It's funny. We were playing with some of the graphics today, like different graphics that we could use.
Sure.
And look at this one. This is classic.
Bye-bye, Salinas.
Bye-bye, Salinas.
That was a good one. Dude, those hits that he used to do with Tony Bruno before Tony Bruno got canceled. Those were
it was something. What was, I don't know. Let's not relive Bruno's issues, but he said something about the Philly pen or something, didn't he?
Yeah, it was something.
This was me the other day saying they just can't hit. They just don't hit. They can't hit.
Yeah.
Oh man, this has been fun, man. We've been wrapping here. We're only gonna go a couple more minutes, but if people want to, we'll try to clear up the chat. See who was. Here we go. I got to throw this gem in there. Krueger was the best. Late night Giants therapy. Thank you, Tony.
There you go,
Tony. You're the man.
You were hosting Sports Phone during some pretty lean years, huh?
That's a good question. I think I started doing Sports Phone in 98 or 99.
Okay.
And
Bonds.
And then the opening of the ballpark, that was pretty good. Pretty good. They won a lot of games I was there in 2002 when they won the World Series. I was there in 2003 when they won 100
When they
games.
went to the World Series.
Yeah, when they went to the World Series. That's right. They won the National
Rally
League.
Monkey begs to differ.
Yeah.
Stupid
my
Scott
God.
Spezio and his stupid face.
It's funny. So 2002 World Series, Giants lose. Bob Agnew, program director at KNBR, comes to me and he says, Krug, the numbers that we've gotten were incredible numbers as far as the nighttime numbers. He goes, I challenge you. Let's see if we can maintain these nighttime numbers through the off season. I'm like, Bob, so you want me to be as entertaining and produce the same number as the game itself? And he's like, you can do it. I know you can do it. Tony believes you can do it. All this stuff. So he's like, we've got an idea that we're going to do that we think's great. And I go, okay, what's your idea? He's like, I want you to go interview a bunch of people from the Giants and the Angels. And we're going to replay all the play-by-play of every playoff game starting in the first round of the playoffs all the way through the World Series, all through the month of November. But what we want to do is we want to splice in your interviews with the players commenting on these games.
That's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, it was a good idea. So, and I'm like, well, Bob, how are we going to get all these guests? And he's like, oh,
It's
well,
a lot of legwork, man.
It's a lot of legwork. And he's like, I've got somebody who's going to help you. And we're going to get these guys. So I'm like, cool, I'm in. I'm down for it. And we had a sponsor, and it was the whole deal. And I forget exactly what it was called. So I start doing these interviews, and I'm interviewing Scott Spiezio, and I'm interviewing David Eckstein, and I'm interviewing, Rob Nen, and I'm interviewing, all these guys that were on both of these teams. And it comes up about Game 6. And now I'm interviewing several Angels about Dusty's ball flip to Russ Ortiz. And I say to them, and I wasn't leading them in any direction. I was just like, Dusty flipped the ball to Russ Ortiz as a souvenir when he was coming off the mound. Did you guys see that? And man, I asked Spiezio, I asked Eckstein, I asked Erstad, and they're all like, hell yeah, we saw that. Was like, hell yeah. He's like, one guy's like, I didn't see it, but Alfredo Griffin and Mickey Hatcher were going crazy in the dugout. And they were just going, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see what Dusty did? Did you see? They think they've already won. And I asked these guys, did that ball flip of Dusty's to Ortiz in any way add to your determination to get it done? And to a man, they were like, hell yes.
It galvanized him, Larry.
Anybody who wants to sit there and say, oh, that meant nothing. Well, you know what? I got the unique opportunity to interview all the Angels that offseason, and I'll tell you right now, it meant something. Now, and I didn't interview them. Here's the other thing. You get one interview if you go into a clubhouse full of guys and they can all hear each other talk. I interviewed them individually when they were at their homes in the off season. They were not sitting around a table, building a consensus. They were telling me honestly what they felt and how they felt. Yeah. So you know what? You're going to have to convince me otherwise. I mean, when Dusty flipped that ball to Ortiz, Dusty was trying to do a good thing for Ortiz, but ultimately what resulted was he incited the Angels, and the Angels came back and beat the Giants. They were down 5 runs in Game 6 with 12 outs to go or whatever, and they came back and won the game. And then, then Dusty Baker blew it in Game 7.
He did.
He could have started Kirk Reeder. The Angels were horrendous against lefties, and they owned righties. And he started Livan Hernandez over Kirk Reeder. And I asked Kirk Reeder about it last year with Tolbert and Brooks. We had Reeder on. And I said, Reeder, you ever think about that game? He's like, oh, hell yeah. The fact you didn't get that start, didn't get that start in the World Series. You think about that? Oh, hell yeah. Think about Kirk Reeder and what a winner he was and what a great competitor he was. And I asked Dusty about it. I said, Dusty, why did you go with Livan Hernandez, despite the fact that the Angels were killing right-handed pitching that postseason and struggled in that series against the Giants against lefties like Chad Zerbe and Aaron Foltz? And, why did you not go with the lefty against that Angels lineup when it was kind of proven at that point that the Angels were killing righties and were susceptible to lefties? And you know what he told me? He said, Krug, I knew if I went with Livan that Reeder would go to the bullpen and he'd be a good soldier, and I could go to him if Livan got in trouble. If I'd gone with Reeder, I would have emotionally lost Livan, and I wouldn't have been able to go to Livan in relief of Reeder. So he went with Livan because he felt like he could go to Reeder, and then unfortunately couldn't get Livan out of the game fast enough. And by the time he went to Reeder, the game was already kind of in hand. I think Gloss or whoever it was in Game 7, I think it was Gloss, had a big hit. But that was interesting. That was interesting to me. I mean, Dusty was very much about the personalities in the room, and he knew, the personalities. But I would beg to differ on that one. To me, that was obvious. You should have gone with the lefty in that situation. But you know what? It made 2010 all the sweeter. That's really, because 2002 was tough. It was tough.
For sure.
And 03 wasn't any easier. But by the time you got to 2010, you know, I mean, it was a magic carpet ride. I mean, you remember 10, 12, and 14. I mean, it was, yeah, absolutely.
I
incredible.
interned for the Giants in 2010. That was just such an incredible year. So I interned at KNBR and the Giants that summer. So that was pretty incredible. I had a big gaffe in 2002. I texted a buddy of mine that was a longtime Giants fan during Game 6 and texted him congratulations. Like, because I thought it was done. I thought it was done. But yeah, and I it's funny because when we had Kirk Reeder on the show,
did you really do that?
I did. I know, and it was like I felt such.
Who's your team? Are you a Cub fan?
Yeah, I'm a Cub fan. Yeah. It's such a.
You see Seiya Suzuki with 2 bombs today.
Let's go. I got 2016. I'll be able to hang my hat on that till the day I die. I've never seen my dad happier than that. But I've developed a big appreciation for the Giants. I like watching Krueger and Ryan call a game tonight. It's like, that's so amazing. Like, they're the best. But I say the other thing in 2002, because I asked Kirk Reeder that very same thing too, and he speaks very openly about it. And it's like, the dude deserved the ball. And the whole Levon Hernandez thing, Kirk Reeder going with Levon because you thought you'd lose him if you had to bring on the pen. To me, that's a scared money kind of a thing, you know? Like, it's like playing poker with scared money. You don't win like that, man. It's Game 7. Like, go with your horse. Kirk Reeder could go out there and shove for 7 innings. And you don't got to worry about Levon Hernandez, man. Like, come on. So, yeah, and look, Dusty, he was with the Cubs in 03 when the Bartman thing happened. And so, God love Dusty. But, man, he's got some dents on the old resume. Good Lord. But, yes, 10, 12, and 14 should hold over Giants fans till the end of time.
Stephen J. says, Larry Krueger, hey, Chip, welcome to the Bay. I'm never going to live that one down just because I said to Chip Kelly, hey, Chip, welcome to the Bay, before I asked a question.
Chip!
Brian Smith, the old producer at KNBR, you saved that one in the vault. And anytime Chip's name came up, he would drop this, hey, Chip, welcome to the Bay Area. Goddamn Brian Smith, prime time.
Dude, I was at a Harbaugh press conference one time, and my cell phone ringtone was Chewbacca, and I was doing the I think it was actually maybe even a Singletary press conference. But anyway, it was Harbaugh. I know it was Harbaugh, and all of a sudden Harbaugh's answering the question. All of a sudden you hear, and it was the Chewbacca text message alert on my phone, and they knew it was my phone, back at the station, so they saved that one for a long time too. Harbaugh though didn't miss a beat, dude. Chewbacca didn't slow him down one bit.
Really? Tony Dursey says, seeing Dusty flip the ball to Ortiz live, I face palmed. That was an awful move.
Yeah, come on, man.
Seriously, you couldn't have done that.
My boy.
Couldn't have done that in the dugout.
No,
really didn't think anybody was going to see. Didn't think anybody was going to notice that one.
Right.
Flipping. Yeah. I mean, really. Really.
Yeah.
This is one from the 2012 when the Giants played the Tigers. I kept telling Gary, they got to make the fat guys move. They got to make the fat guys move because they had Miggy Cabrera and they had Vladdy and did they have Vladdy? They had terrible defense. The Tigers did. And I'm like, Gary, the key is make the fat guys move. And we had a lot of fun with that. King Tone says, is Cody Pasby still around?
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah,
Cody's like a great guy, man.
Yeah, Dak's a great dude. I went to his wedding. He's doing a Giants podcast. I did last season he was doing a Giants podcast. I don't know if he still is, but yeah, man, him and his wife
just got married.
A baby. Yep.
Yeah.
Cody's good dude. Man. Love Dakota Pasby. One of the coolest cats you'll ever meet. Nice guy.
I'll say the one cool thing about radio, sports radio, are the guys behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gold. And, I had 2 different stints at KNBR. And so there's a whole lot of guys going back to 1997 who worked behind the scenes who are just, those guys are gold. You know what I mean?
I started behind the scenes,
You did.
All I ever wanted to do was, work at KNBR, have a show there, but I started.
I can remember talking to you about how you wanted to get your career going and you know what? It all starts with a dream, man. It all starts with a dream. You got to have a dream. But the one thing I loved about being on sports radio or the producers, because these guys don't make a lot of cash and it's a tough job and they don't get a lot of respect and they're doing something they love to do. And I admire people, man. I admire people who who do what they love to do. And, maybe they're not making good money, but they believe that, you know what, I'm going to do what I love to do, and I'm going to be so damn good at it that money is going to follow. And to me, I always appreciated guys like that.
That was always kind of my mantra. Like, we'll get there. The money will come. You know what I mean? You just keep working. And, and then PDs will make promises to you they don't keep, but that's a story for another time. No, man, like, honestly, like, I had guys producing for me, like, dude, Adam Copeland, and Copes moved on up. Brian Banafitemi, you shout out Medium Impact Brian.
Love that guy.
I was just talking to him yesterday, man. Like, he's a killer dude. I love him. I was texting with Primetime the other day. Like, just guys that I worked with, even at both stations, that I just readily enjoy. Some of my favorite people were from behind the scenes.
Yeah, King Tone says Matt Leland. Matt Leland's a good
fighter.
SI Wildcat produced a lot of stuff for us.
Feldhouse had another baby. In case people are wondering what happened to Feldhouse.
He was moved a Cavs fan. He went to Cleveland, right? He moved back to Cleveland. Yeah,
he moved back home to Cleveland. Him and his wife. They're just about to have, or they just had a second baby. So him and Krista have a couple of kids now in Feldhouse. I think he's working for the Cavs still. I talked to him maybe about 2 months ago.
A lot of good people, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. A lot of good people. Covay, this has been fun, man. I love having you in here, and it's just cool. I mean, I don't know if they just can't hit. I take that one down. But no, I mean, come back, dude, because
anytime, brother.
You know how much I love rapping with you. I've always believed in your talent. I've always believed in your ability. And you have fun, man. You have fun. You've always had fun. And you do it your way, and you kind of, it's to me, that's what it's about. It's about having fun and going out there and watching the sports, and also just not being one of these people. There's a lot of people who do sports shows because they're like they're running for office, like they're building consensus. You're not. Stop building a consensus. Give me your opinion. You know what I mean? I don't need a consensus. I need your opinion.
I love what you're doing, Larry.
Al Perez's Gary with Pete was legendary at noon. Let me give you my Pete Franklin story. Did you ever meet Pete?
Yeah, I met him one time. Yeah.
So I'm filling in for Gary. It's 1997, Covay. Mm-hmm. I've been there at the station for like a week, and they're like, Gary's going on vacation. We want you to fill in for him.
Fill in for Ratty.
Fill in for Ratty. Ratty did a 2-hour show. It was 12 to 2.
Okay.
And then Pete was on
at 11:59 and was out at 12:01. I got
you. Pete was there in the back room. And Pete is, I mean, I got nothing but love for the people who started this genre of sports radio and sports broadcasting. Pete Franklin was on the cutting edge at WFAN, Cleveland, and then he's just a guy who's first, and he's no longer with us, sadly. But Pete comes in during a commercial, and he's like, "What's your name, kid?" And I'm like, "Hey, my name's Larry Krueger." And he's like, "I'm listening in the sports office." He's like, "You've been doing this for years?" And I said, "No, actually, I've been doing this for months." And he's like, "But you're sounding great. You're sounding absolutely great. I'm gonna go back there and listen. You know what? I really enjoy you. I just really enjoy you. I just wanted to come in and tell you that." And Covay, we're at a commercial break. Yeah, I mean,
that's badass.
Pete Franklin telling you you're sounding great. Now, I don't know if I was sounding great or if I was sounding like S, but you know what? I was like, I seriously floated to my car at 2:00. I was like, are you kidding me? So it's just, there's just so many great people that I've met through the years, and the late great Pete Franklin was one of them. I think the guy totally understood the medium, which is just communicating and having fun. Tony Dursey says, nice job, guys. Fun show. Yeah, that if you just tuned in, Giants wind up winning this game. The story was, the Giants jumped them early. Alex Cobb was really sharp. We got our first look at Tyler Beede. Belt stays hot, hitting over 400. Estrada stays hot. We didn't see Eliot Ramos, but it sounds like he's going to play tomorrow when his family's going to stay in town.
But we saw his family.
We did see his family, and they looked happy despite the fact they were cold. Joey Bart is hitting 364 with power. Yaz is starting to heat it up. Mauricio Dubon basically gave us our talking point tonight with his bunt up 9 runs in the 6th. Wilmer Flores got a couple hits. Jock Peterson hit his first homer of the year off of Will Myers, but he hit it into the arcade. Why don't we finish up with Jock Peterson? He's kind of the biggest name addition offensively to this club. What do you think, Covay? What do you think? You think Peterson's going to be, he's going to have a good year? Is he going to be a platoon guy? He's a Bay Area guy, Palo Alto High School, almost signed with the Giants last year, then signed with your Cubbies, and had a decent year. Got moved to Atlanta, wore the shells. He looked good at the end of the year.
I'm hearing music. Are they walking us off?
Yeah, it's like the Oscars.
Yeah, it's like the Oscars.
This is your way.
Make it quick, Covay. Grab your award and get the hell out of here. No, Peterson's a big leaguer, man. You can have you can't have enough Jock Petersons on your team. So I think he's gonna have a part to play. We know he's got some power. Give some time in the outfield. So I love the Peterson acquisition because you don't have to break the bank to go get him right now. And I still think he's got plenty of talent. And I love the idea of a dude coming home and playing for in front of his hometown, especially now that he's obviously an established big leaguer. So I thought that was a savvy piece of business by the Giants. I think he's going to be a good fit.
Hey, we need a Covay and Krueger show on the regular. What do you think of that?
Pay me.
Arbitration.
I'll come on with you anytime, Larry. I'll come on with you anytime.
Hey, we're gonna go out with some music here, and then I've got a closing banner. Covay, you're the man.
Love you, baby.
Love you too, brother. And we'll do this again. Let me hit my closing banner here, which is just really sweet. You got to check out the closing banner. I'm learning all the new StreamYard things. It's really quite cool. All right. Rick Colleen, we need a Larry Covay regular show. We close with this. Have a great night to everybody. Thanks to Len. Thanks to Ryan. Hey, thanks for everybody, by the way, who has been part of this show and part of this whole YouTube experiment or experience for me, not an experiment. I'm having fun. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Be extra sure to hit that notification bell so you can catch all the upcoming shows. Love you guys. Having a ton of fun on YouTube. Thanks for supporting my channel, The Krueg Show. Thanks to our sponsor, Telmetrics and Dan Coach Emilio. Thanks to Len. Thanks to Ryan. Thanks to Covay. We'll throw the banner on the way out. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you ask